gmail.com with the Good Morning Portugal show. How are you this morning? Andrea, first it again. Look at it, look. Hola, bon dia. Life is good. Oh, this is the perfect Portuguese vignette. Perfect. Life is good. Weather is perfect. We're living the good life, enjoying the best show on the internet. Oh, yes. Good morning, Portugal family. How lovely. And at Deagle's suggestion, I'm going to do this right. It's disappeared off my screen. I can do it from memory, though, I think. Quinta-feira this morning, 21 outubro. Deagle wanted us to do the date line in Portuguese, so I think I've done it justice there. Let's see how you've been doing with your Portuguese this morning as we scroll through the early comments before we greet our guest today, Wiley. You know you're talking to somebody cool when they have just that single name, like Prince, you know? And I'm talking to Wiley this morning. It's not enigmatic and brilliant. Great story to tell. Portuguese and Swedish and American connections, so triangulating those countries and cultures this morning. And I need to find Mia, don't I, to tell anybody off who hasn't done their 15 this morning. Where's she gone? She won't be with us tomorrow. My mistake. She'll be with us next Friday. So it's the last for your diaries. Mia is here on the last Friday of the month. And hopefully by then she will have her Good Morning Portugal mug. So there she is. Let's remove Andrea's comment for just a moment. Did you do your 15 minutes of Portuguese yesterday? Do let us know in the comments. Let's see who did and didn't do that. Deagle's got a book, you know. I mentioned some of us might have books where we write down vocabulary. Deagle is one of those, and I'm waiting for his permission to show the picture of it. I don't think he's awake and with us yet. Oh, yes, he is. Deagle, can I show that picture? I want to show it because it's very autumnal. Bon dia alegria from Thunder. Good morning. Boo. Look, I'm bad cop. It's all very well. Francis might say, oh, you just take your time and you make up for it if it doesn't work out. Thunder, what's wrong with you, man? 0 minutes. Come on. We were out all day. There are things called apps, you know. You could just plug in while you're out. Deagle is here. Bon dia, Carl. 50 minutes times 2 yesterday. Look, no boasting. 15's enough. Extra. You only need to boast about the extra points when Mia's around, or maybe Francis. 15 this morning, 30 yesterday. A lot of show-offs. James is here. Bon dia, todos. Andrea Hogan, couldn't agree more. 40 minutes yesterday and 10 so far today. Maybe 15 isn't enough. I'm really enjoying the Memrise app. Okay, we've got our own group on there, thanks to Matty, as of yesterday. Isn't that fantastic? James saying, yes, I tried it a while back, and for some reason, I don't recall, I moved on to something else. That's how it goes. There are many, many good resources on the interweb, aren't there? And so there's no reason not to be practicing Portuguese. For me, it was talk the streets, Liz. Really enjoying her angle. I'm currently enjoying the Drops app for vocabulary and voiced pronunciation, and I'm using Anki flashcards. Oh, I've seen those. Yeah, Mrs. M bought some of those to recognize, memorize common greetings and introductions. Don't be one of those people who has all the gear but no idea. Make sure, like Liz says, get out there and practice as well. I'm also very much enjoying Mia's all-in-one course. She's how I found out about Anki. That's great. I think it is wise to learn with a real person. And that's one of, I think it was deadly sin number 7, as far as Liz goes. Get out there and talk to people. She says, if you don't do that, what's the point? And I think she's got a point with that. Belo dia today. Como está todos hoje? How's everyone today? Stephen Wells is here as well, as is Jim. Hello, Stephen. Hello, Jim. And Francis, the aforementioned. Bon dia todos. Hope you're all good. Capricorn's here. Looking forward to that jazz funk track of the day. And look at this. Wiley is in the green room waiting for me to stop talking and greeting you this morning. She'll be with us in just a moment. Look, Capricorn's sunset in Nazaré a couple of days ago. Isn't that beautiful? She's in wonderful Cascais, is Wiley. Where's the jazz funk track of the day, Capricorn? Looking forward to that. 0 minutes. Oh, no, but we'll do after. Had a rush morning. Carl, you can bad cop. Give me 15, Francis. Drop and give me 15. Everybody ready to sing along. And I do hope you are singing along or whistling along with the theme tune in the mornings. Bon dia alegria, amore ontem from Jackie Polly. I'm loving being here, finally live and able to participate with this amazing community. I love this show. Obrigado a todos. That's lovely and always worth mentioning, I think. So thank you for doing that, James. Mark is here as well, as is Gemini. And Pam is here as well. I don't use apps. But second Liz's advice to get out and talk to people, which she does, you know she does. And she is, we recorded a wonderful interview about being a volunteer in Portugal, which you can refer to. Well, and I'm sure it's an incredible, as well as her own resource, the European Portuguese community. Please give me the correct link for that, Pam, once again, because it is a great well, no, it's not an app. It's a great group on Facebook where you can chat twice a week live with people on Zoom. As well as that, as well as all she gives in that department, Pamela is a volunteer in Portugal. Great way to learn the language and the culture as well, of course. Nuna here, Elra here, and Owen. Just finally, before we talk to Wiley, is it just me? I'm watching you, but you seem to be looping. Have you been foraging those mushrooms again, Owen? Maria Costa, regarding learning Portuguese, my husband is very determined. He takes private lessons one-to-one, Monday to Thursday morning. He should come on here and teach us. Then he attends the free classes at the high school Monday and Wednesday night. He's doing very well. I'm sure he is, with that kind of backup and application and determination, as you put it. Okay, it's moved to Portugal Thursday, and somebody who's done just that and will tell us about her adventure now. Wiley's adventure, I called it. You've seen it on the screen. Good morning. Hola, bon dia, alegria to you, Wiley. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm really well. I'm here with all my buddies in the Good Morning Portugal community. Are they a lovely bunch?
Great bunch.
And you're in Cascais, as I said there. Tell us, please, if you will, bring us up to speed on on Wiley's adventure, which sounds like a Hollywood movie, right?
It does the way you say it. It doesn't feel that way, though.
Right.
I think that after 30 years in Sweden, which was fabulous, love Sweden, don't love the weather. I think if it wasn't for the weather, everyone in the world could live there. It's the most amazing, most beautiful place. Raised my kids there and decided after I sold my business that I might want to be warm 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And it wasn't there. So I packed up and moved here, albeit back and forth quite a bit. I can't get enough. It's the best place. Love.
How lovely. And how did it come onto your radar? I mean, as you say, people live in places where they tick a lot of boxes. I love England, I have to say. But there were certain things that became a little bit unbearable. And it gave me enough of a stimulation to think about, okay, where else might I like to live? What was it that caught your attention apart from the weather?
I had friends who'd been here for such a long time. And so I started coming down in 2012 just to hang with them. And the more time they spent here, the more time I was just kind of not dreading going back, but wondering why I was going back. And so through a series of events, I had the opportunity to show up kind of almost permanently. And in 2018, and really kind of, feet on ground. What does it feel like? And the wildest thing is, and this is exactly to your point, the expat community that is here pulled me in such a way where I can tell you in my 50s, I have better friends now than I've had in my entire life. A group of people who I don't think I could live without, that we hang together, play together, grow together, learn together, travel together. And I guess it's because everyone feels that I think maybe it's the weather compared to Sweden, where you feel like there's always an opportunity to do something, where in Sweden it's the opportunity to stay inside because it's freezing or snowing or raining and here it's always, you wake up and go, remember when you were like 5 and you're like, what are we going to do today? That's exactly how I feel. And I think that's how all my friends feel. And we're always getting together to do something cool. So it's like being having play dates once again, like you did when you were kids. And every day.
And then somebody has to call you in eventually when it goes dark, do they?
It's so fun. Dinner's ready. Yeah, no, that's the way it is.
Get back in here. It's time for bed. Okay, well, that is really wonderful. And several things in there that I think our community will be interested in. Obviously, let's reiterate that it's Cascais where when you said the expats that you and the community that you're in, is that to do with Cascais or is that more of a general Portuguese thing?
Well, the expats that I've met here are, when I first got here and felt like, who do I belong with? Who are my people? Yeah. And started joining wonderful, go to Facebook and find events there and just, Google spies on you. So as soon as you start looking for things to do, it starts sending you things to do. And so, and then because I have the Swedish community, so you find out who they are. There's wonderful different Swedish Facebook groups that you can kind of reach out and say, I'm here. And they kind of rope you in. I found that the weirdest thing for me so far is that it's mostly the English community, which I found through the Hash House Harriers. Have you guys ever run a hash?
I know what it is, and we should probably explain what that is, shouldn't we? So that we're not.
Because it sounds like it
sounds like it's the sort of thing that could get us banned off YouTube. So in this regard, hashing is what, Wiley?
Hashing was started by NATO, and so what they do is they were bringing together the NATO families on the weekends. So when it comes back, because it was shut down over COVID, every other weekend, the night before, you get GPS coordinates to meet in some dark alley, and everyone shows up.
It's getting worse. Quick.
Okay, it's not a dark alley; it's a parking lot.
Okay.
And everyone shows up, and the beauty of it is, especially if you're new here, it takes you to neighborhoods you've never been in before, and we all gather. There could be 10 or 50, and you kind of get in this big circle, and someone screams out, "Anybody hasn't been here before, we'll teach you how to do this." But there's two routes. There's the walkers or wimps. Then there's the runners or Rambos. And so there's W's and R's on chalk through the forest. And the hare has been there before to set the trail. And they try to tease you and trick you. So you get to a corner where you don't know where you're supposed to go. And there's a little circle. And so some of you go this way and some of you go this way, and you're looking for dots. And the one who finds 3 dots first screams on, and everyone goes in that direction. And so then you hear this on reverberating through the forest, and everyone kind of follows these trails until you get to the end. The walkers are about 5-7 kilometers, and the runners about 12-15, and you all end up at the same time at the same place. But at the end, the last 500 meters to a kilometer, in the forest floor, it's written, "Beer is near."
Oh,
and so you go a little faster, and whoever is setting up that day has set up basically like a tailgate of libation. I mean, it's like in Halloween we do Bloody Marys. On Pimm's Day, we do Derby Day, we do Pimm's, we do champagne at New Year's Eve. We've done Halloween hashes where we've run through neighborhoods with our costumes on. It's so much fun, and it's such a great way to meet all these cool new people.
Well, what a brilliant template for to be transferred anywhere around the world.
And they're all over the world. You can Google them. They're all over the world.
And NATO, because NATO do have a presence in Cascais, don't they?
Big presence.
Okay, so that's the connection there. But this thing sounds amazing. And libation, I mean, piss up, basically, right? Is that what you're talking about at the end of it?
But you have to drive home. So the thing is that there's the little beers. Most everyone has just one a little beer, but then sky's the limit.
But you could organise transport, and you could have a celebratory end to that. But that sounds great on a number of levels, because
it's so fun.
It's a bit like dating, isn't it? It's often better to have something to focus on rather than just sort of looking at each other and trying to find something to talk about. And that's when expats meet up, I think it can be like that as well, can't it? If you just kind of meet up, it's like, okay. Well, we've talked about that and that. What do we talk about now? It's good to have an external focus, like the running and keep fit thing, of course. And Coach Turner is here. He heads our very own Grey Watch fitness plan. And this is for people of a certain age and expats who want to stay in good shape and enjoy a great life. It sounds like hashing, the same ethic as hashing. So he's flexing the pecs.
There's probably no beer at the end.
What with Ian, there certainly will be. There'll be wine if it's Ian. I know that for sure. And we're bringing Matty and Ian together because there might be a bit of a pain relief expertise from Matty as well, which I guess it can get to the knees a little bit, can't it? The hashing.
If you're a walker, you don't have to do the hills and the runs, but it's pretty good. That's
perfect that you've got the Rambos and the Wimps, isn't it? So you choose your level of testosterone or whatever, however you might.
And I mean, you can walk or run any of them. If you're a fast walker, you can walk the Rambo route.
Oh, okay. So
they tend to traverse each other. So you can see, to your point, speed dating, and you're not supposed to really start with one person and end with one person. You're supposed to kind of pull back and move forward. And they say it's really not a race. It's a way to hang with different people, but they actually suggest you continue to move on through different people, so you can at least speak to everyone during the entire walk.
Perfect. And that way, because we all have our different tastes in people, don't we? And obviously in that environment, all of life is there, the highly competitive people and the very laid back ones, and you choose where you want to be in that mix, I guess.
Right. And this one's a family hash, so you can bring your dogs and your kids, because after 5 hashes they name you, and a lot of the hashes will have very not so friendly names, but and then from then on in, you have to wear your hash shirts, and you use your hash name when you get there, and introduce yourself that way. It's so
almost
fun.
A cult. It's almost a cult. And why is it called hashing? What's the derivation?
That's such a good question. I don't have the answer to that.
It's often the way, isn't it? We take these things for granted, and we've no idea what the origin is. But you know what? Someone's going to look that up for us, and we're going to find out today. So
okay, I look forward to that.
That is such a great tip, Wiley. Being new somewhere, you could join a hashing group, couldn't you? And there may well be Anglo, Luso, hybrids of these hashing clubs. I'm sure, given that the Portuguese are so much into sport, I wouldn't be surprised if there are hashing clubs all over Portugal as well that you could join. I'm sure they'd make you very welcome. So what a lovely thing to do, to meet new people. Any other tips then for people who are new to the country and who are following in the way that you've obviously made it a really easy and pleasurable time to meet people? What other things would you suggest?
I also got involved in a triathlete group. That was another great way to not only get to know people, but because it's the same thing. You run and and pass people and bike and swim past people. It's so great. Mm-hmm. The Ironman is here this weekend. I did it 2 years ago. So much fun.
Seriously.
So much fun. The coolest thing I've ever done. And it's just, I really urge people to get out and at least cheer people on. It changes everything when you think, okay, I'm on 40 kilometers. I've got 80 kilometers of a bike to do. And I'm dropping. And if you hear someone scream, "You're amazing," you're like, oh, I forgot for a second. And you just go a little bit faster. And it's just, I hope everyone gets out, and because this is the first year for a full and for a half. So it's 2 days of full on energy. Avoid the roads. You're not going to get past them. So make sure you don't set yourself up to get locked in. But it's an amazing way to meet people. And you see people on the bay all the time swimming. There's groups you can join for that. So that's phenomenal. Going to the local pools, you learn that you meet the Portuguese in the pools, the Portuguese coaches, and it's been tough for them. So it's really nice to be able to, it's cost nothing to go in and train with a coach. So it's so nice to be able to support the community that way as well. So I recommend that. I'm
so impressed. So Ironman, are you doing it this weekend as well? Or
no, I deferred to next year because it's been a year.
But you would recommend this to people, right? Because there's a massive high achievement spike in this community now. They're taking on the Portuguese, and in various ways we're looking at personal fitness here and how to stay well and healthy, in aging as an expat. And a lot of people think, Ironman, I'm way past that. I can't do that. But they should maybe think again, right? It's
not true, because what I did the first year was I did a relay, which is a great way to get your feet wet. Yeah. Where my two closest friends did the swim and the run, and I did the bike. Okay. And that's a great way just to get in and start. And then at the end, you go, okay, I'm totally doing this by myself the next time. Yes. But another interesting thing is the first one I saw was in Mallorca, and there was this kind of this not, you don't look at her and think, oh, you're an Ironman when you looked at her. And she had a pink triathlon suit on with a Hello Kitty on her butt. Oh, and I thought, this chick's taking the piss. She's saying to us, if I can, you can. And so I was like, when I saw her, I'm like, you're my hero. I'm doing this. So that was my motivation to do it. But there is a time limit. And if you come in after the time limit, you don't get to finish. But if you train for a full year and you're really diligent, and there are free online training, portals about how to set it up and how to get yourself ready for it. It's really, everyone on my team will tell you it's here. It's not here. It's
like everything, right? Like everything in life, it would appear.
It's true. It's this and nutrition.
And nutrition. Okay. Yes, indeed. Okay. Well, let's come around to Portuguese food eventually in this conversation. Okay. You see how that dovetails. We were talking about cornucopias yesterday and how nuns make incredible confectionery and patisserie. Maybe that's not part of an iron man or woman diet. Not when you're in training anyway. Maybe a treat at the end. A few people saying hello this morning, welcoming you to the community, Wiley. Welcome, Wiley, from Francis from South Africa. Excuse me. Thanks for joining us. Eusebio is here as well. Interesting. Oh, look, he's given us a treat. That's not you, though, is it? I don't think, Eusebio. Who is that? I know that person, but I cannot think of their name right now. Bom dia, estou aqui para brincar. Are you here to play? That's quite a chat-up line, isn't it? Got it. I joined your group. Thanks, Healthy Move Portugal. So Thunder is now in the Memrise Good Morning Portugal group there. I'll join as well, says Francis. This is great. Well done, everybody, for doing that. Victoria's here as well. Bon dia, beautiful people from the sunniest paradise. You know where, Praia de Rocha. Oh, Cascais, Algarve. We might touch on that as well. The old rivalry, I would say. Capricorn 12, a jazz funk track of the day. So apt for Good Morning Portugal from T.S. Monk. Bon bon, V, Gimme the Good Life. Such a great track. A theme tune for everyone who wants to experience so much from life as we do here. So well chosen there, Capricorn. Have you got a photo? Got any photos from the Silver Coast? I've got a video to share with you yesterday that I took at Foz yesterday. Quite extraordinary yesterday with the light on the sea mist. I'll share that with you after we've said goodbye to Wiley, who's got to go off and I think do some property viewings or some property business. We'll talk to you about that as well, Wiley, in due course. Forum post is under Learn Language, not on my computer, just phone. So can't look it up. Okay, well, there's Matty working hard on our behalf to make sure you're connected with the resources. Memrise, I think, there. Carl can drive everyone for the next 6 months. That's true. I'm off the booze. So if we do start a hashing group, you can buy me a minibus, everybody, and I'll take you home. Ian did a sunrise walk already today. How are you? That's our very own Wham Pam from Grey Watch talking to Coach Turner there. Just trying to curry a bit of fitness favour, I think. Strangers meeting in car parks. I think we've cleared that up, Wiley, haven't we?
We did.
Geocaching coming up as well, of course.
Cool.
We have people in our community who could talk about that for sure. If you become part of it, do you get a hashtag? Well, hey. Very good. And how does someone join a hashing club? So how different? He's in Ericeira, not a million miles away from you.
Go to Facebook, and I think you just type in Hash House Harriers, probably Lisbon.
Okay, there you go. Victoria from Coach Turner. I'm good, thanks. Training at the track this morning after coffee at the local shop with the OH. The O is the other half, of course. Wish I was in. Sometimes it's O, and sometimes it's O. Wish I was in the Algarve after the weather we have here. Certainly, that's how it is with my other half, anyway. And hello, good morning all to all from England. That's Diogo. We have Portuguese people tuned in. I'm so proud of that, Wiley, that... Diogo there and João here. Bom dia a todos. Estou encantado por ver que estão a todos em força. Would you like to translate that, Wiley?
Would not.
You would not. Now translate this. That's our Robert De Niro movie, isn't it? Translate this. James is saying hiking, biking, swimming. I enjoy them all, but not all at once. You have to do them one after the other, not at the same time, James, and certainly not timed. I don't know. Maybe we could work towards that. Inspirational, Wiley. I have friends that do try fantastic events, and they don't have to be.
They don't have to be full. No.
So, yeah, perhaps the name is a little bit misleading, isn't it? I mean, I understand the origins of it, but we could call it, I don't know, we could have Paper Man, couldn't we? No.
Well, one of the things that's really interesting is that a lot of the Ironmen are suggesting that Ironman takes so much money for their events that the other triathlon events in Portugal, people are suggesting are better. There's one in Coimbra everyone talks about because the water's calmer and warmer. Because the water here is not so, and they said it's so nice and Coimbra is so beautiful, and it's about 50% less for the cost. Okay. So I recommend the Coimbra one. That's going to be one I'm going to look for in the future.
Very good. So you could tour Portugal with year after year, couldn't you, and go to a different one? How brilliant.
And I understand there's bicycle tours through vineyards. There's another way to do it.
Oh yes, that's Coach Turner's idea. That might be our annual get together, is cycling through a vineyard.
Come in.
What could possibly go wrong with that, eh? Bom dia, Portugal, saudades day. Oh, sorry, Diogo. It's great that you tune in, but sorry that we make you a little bit homesick. And Eusebio, midlife crisis world tour. I could do a try-nap athlon. Sleep.
I could too.
Yeah. That sounds good, actually. That sounds like a little mini course or a book for sure. So you are here. You are a buyer's agent.
I am.
We had a brief conversation about this yesterday. This is, to me, Wiley, this is such a good idea in Portugal because it is a confusing picture for people wanting to buy property here. You know, you arrive and you see loads of empty properties. You see loads of beautiful properties. And then people start inquiring about them. And it can become a bit of a goose chase, can't it? Or whatever the equivalent is in Swedish or Portuguese. And do you see yourself in some way as a little bit of an antidote to that and to sort of make things a little bit easier for people?
I hope so. So. I have a real estate license. I got my first one in Connecticut back in the United States and then in California because you have to have one for each state. And then being in the market there, understanding the market there, and then coming to Sweden and wondering if I was going to do it there. And I recognized there was a 4-year university degree there and decided to not do that there in that moment. But I was also having babies. So there's my caveat. And then coming here, I recognized my first purchase. She was lovely, and it went off without a hitch. She was fab, and she's a friend of mine today. But I did buy in a very Portuguese neighborhood because I think that I'm gonna see a difference coming up in this neighborhood soon, and gutted my apartment. And that I got really lucky because I read on many threads that there's a lot of builders who are not, maybe they don't have the integrity that they might need to have.
Yes.
But I got very lucky. So I've had only great experiences. And I know a lot of people become real estate agents because they've had bad experiences.
Yes.
But then a friend of mine bought something, and no one did their due diligence, and no one brought in an inspector, which is something I demand for my clients. And if this person had had an inspection in their home, they wouldn't be in the courts for the last 5 years, and don't really see an end to it, because the court system's something nobody really wants to get involved with here.
Right.
So because of that was my, that was the fire in my belly that said, someone has to get out there and start telling, forgive me for saying the truth, because I don't think people go out to lie. I absolutely don't. But I think that sometimes, because in 2008, they stopped demanding licensing. So there's not individual licensing now. Like a Remax or any corporation investment company will buy an AMI number, and then they can have any number of people using that license underneath them. I know one agency that has 100 agents using that one number. And so that trickle down effect might not hit the people at the bottom, recognizing what their responsibility actually is. And that's been my problem is, if you are protecting me, one of the largest investments I'll ever make, protect me. And when my friends got set up in a situation, I hate to use the word set up, was in a situation where nobody protected him, I feel as though there need to be more of us who really take that seriously. And instead of your first question being, what's the commission? Your first question needs to be, you know, how legal is this house? Is the paperwork in order? You know, are we protected going into this? And very often the first question an agent will ask is, you know, how much is it? What's my commission on it? Will you partner with me? And my first question is, will you partner with me? My second question is, and is it safe? You know, I mean, what do I need to look at? How much mold are we looking at? I always ask for the pros and cons of the house. What can I prep my clients for going in? Yes, we can change most of it, but give me some information coming in, so that I know if it's worth our time coming in. And very often my second showing will come with my own builder. And then if we go past that and do want to put a bid in on it, then the third thing will be to take an inspector in with us.
Very good. Okay, because I've heard it said, to put it another way, and I think what you're talking about is a cultural change, isn't it? You know, that people experience. If you can't assume, can you, that the way real estate is done in your native country is the same as it's going to be in Portugal? And I've heard it said that there are 10 million real estate agents in Portugal, and that's because everybody knows somebody selling a house, don't they? True. It's just the way of. I mean, I've learned a lot about this in the last 4 years of being here. The way people look at houses here, it's very different to how you might elsewhere in the world. For example, where I grew up in England, in the UK, if you inherited a house, you were a very lucky person. That was a real gift and a real favor. I think sometimes people dread inheriting houses in Portugal, don't they? So you can have people of quite modest means who are inheriting yet another house on the passing of a relative, and it might be them and their cousins or their brothers, and these houses move through the family, which I think is great. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think that's a really honorable and right thing to do, that houses stay with families, but it creates quite a difficult picture for those people, doesn't it? And also for somebody who might want to buy that house from those people, those 7 cousins, 2 of whom now live in Brazil, 1 lives in Sweden or somewhere like that, and it becomes quite difficult. So it's not the same. It's a very different culture here, and you have to be aware of that. And I think that's probably what you're addressing, right?
Yes, and I mean, I've also experienced where going into a house and finding, you know, that when the lawyer, because there's always a lawyer involved here, which doesn't happen in many other countries, that we found, you know, 7, 8, 10 people who actually have rights to this house and all have to sign off on it. So we're in a reservation period waiting for all of the signatures to come in and everything to come up to date and all the paperwork to be correct in order to actually buy the house. So the delays that you wouldn't expect to happen, are really real.
you have to be a detective as well, don't you? As part of your set of skills, tracking people down who might be who actually might not even know that they own the house. Like, hello, I'm calling to tell you that you're a part owner of this house. Oh yeah, I remember. I inherited that 27 years ago.
Right. It's one of the 10 I've inherited.
My cousins are selling it, are they? Oh, okay. Yeah. Where do I sign? Fantastic. Exactly. Elra in Finland. Originally Portuguese, but living up in Finland as a Portuguese, not offended at all. You tell them, Wiley. So how has the reception been? I mean, I can tell you're very sensitive to not wanting to offend anybody, and that's a good look in a new country. But there is something to be done, isn't there? I think as Elra seem to be agreeing with you there. What's the reception been like for your take on real estate?
Well, it's interesting because my take is that, and it's a little bit different as well. And for me, I like to sell a neighborhood because yes, location, that's always number one. But if you, as an expat, move into a neighborhood where you will not, because it's a pure Portuguese neighborhood, I like a diverse neighborhood. I don't like a pure expat neighborhood either. And I don't like the idea that the expats are coming in with more money and pushing the Portuguese out of their neighborhoods. I don't like that either.
No.
But what I do is my very first thing I do is I take my clients up to the mountain and give them an overview of the neighborhood, because I want them to recognize that Guia isn't far away from Bairro do Rosario, isn't far away from Gandarinha, isn't far away. I mean, it's like they're all this close. And so when people say, my friends say, I have to live in this neighborhood, I'm like, but if you take 12 steps, you're in this neighborhood. And when we find you a neighborhood, let's make sure your neighborhood is the way you want it to feel, because we can do anything you want to your house. We can gut it. We can, blow the ceilings out. We can change the roof. We can do all those things. But let's make sure your neighborhood is where you feel at home. And so I start with the neighborhoods. I start driving them around, give them the overview, and then we drive through the neighborhoods. And when we identify something, we come back a few times, because it might be great in the afternoon, but what about in the evening if the restaurant's too close and the smell of the grilled meat's coming into your window because the winds are coming out? Or what if it's by a daycare and we only saw it on the weekend and we didn't know that there are children screaming all day long? Yes. Or what if there's a dog that barks 24 hours a day in your next door neighbor and you can't change that? So we need to really know about your house. We don't just go in once for 15 minutes and buy it. We need to know your neighborhood to make sure that you're not stuck.
You see, a lot of estate agents would just put on the particulars there. Authentic Portuguese neighborhood, smell of meat, sound of dogs, and the screaming of children. But not you, by the sound of it.
No, I need them to know. Once again, I'm protecting them. I need to know that that they come out knowing that they chose the right neighborhood. I had clients who looked at more than 50 houses, and it didn't bother me, because all the way from Carcavelos to Colores, they needed to find their neighborhood. And when they found it, there was no changing their mind. And when they finally moved in, they were like, oh my God, we're home. This is the best place we've ever been. What were we ever doing over there? This is amazing. But we spent time there and had lunch there and walked the beach there. And we knew. And then when the house came up and we walked in, I mean, that's a good buyer. I don't want a naive buyer. I want a good buyer. I want a buyer who knows what they want.
And that's the right way for a buyer's agent as well. So let's talk a little bit more about managing that transition of cultural transition, because it's important. But before we do, Coach Turner likes the idea of the Medoc Marathon, stopping at each vineyard. Very few finish this one. So you have to be quite accomplished, I think, don't you? A strong person to finish that. Fantastic. And also a friend, on the property side of things, Capricorn 12. A friend purchased a repo from a bank. So that's leading with a bargain there, isn't it? It looked lovely, but it was a treasure trove of problems. Right. Luckily enough, a good builder sorted it all out. So buyer beware. I'm sure you would go with that sentiment, right?
100%.
Yeah. And Andy, Wiley, I'm the token immigrant in my neighborhood in Lisboa, but I like that. Yeah.
There you go.
I think that's how we roll here at on the Good Morning Portugal show. The two things you said, that really stand out, to not wanting to be in a fully expat. Why do that? Why come here and just, create your own little version of where you came from? It's a difficult one. How do you make sure that local people aren't being priced out? I guess you need to urge and support the government to do that. And they are, aren't they?
I feel like they are.
Yeah.
I do.
I mean, something's happening, isn't it? It's not the same thing that happened in Barcelona, I think, with the Airbnb phenomenon. I mean, it did happen to some extent, but I think the Portuguese government have been on top of that and are doing things to make sure it doesn't happen in quite the same way, I think.
I'm actually really grateful that the golden visa is being pushed out of of this particular neighborhood, because I can see houses around me that were purchased on golden visa, and they're going to sit empty probably for 5 years.
Yeah.
And that's not good really for anybody. And it doesn't really bring what people want into the neighborhoods. It doesn't bring life and energy and building and construction. And my property value doesn't go up when that house sits by itself for 5 years.
Interesting.
And
yeah.
So I love the fact that they're bringing that to less, I don't know.
Well, it's about population density now. It's moving away from the coast and the big cities, right? Which has been great, and that happen. So if you're on the old scheme, you've got to do that before the end of the year,
Correct.
And because it changes for 2022 on the golden visa there, which I think is a great. I mean, it's a great example, Wiley, and that's a really good move on behalf of the government there.
Right.
So I don't know if you'll be able to answer this or not. James, I've heard that the term for financing a home in Portugal is limited by a maximum age 67. So if one is 60, the maximum term is 7 years. Is this true? So do you know much about financing? Or do you leave that to others?
I do understand that. There's some different numbers there, because I've been using a number called 75 years old. So it kind of depends. I'm going to look at that and make sure that is correct. I'm sure you're correct, James. So yes, that would be the answer. And it's also harder to get a mortgage for someone who's single. You also have to get a life insurance, which is daunting.
Okay. Yeah, that's one fix for that, isn't it? I've heard 65, and I'm sure that depends on the lender. And of course, Jacqueline Moulin will be joining us on the 4th Tuesday of every month now in the mortgage slot. So she'll definitely be able to answer that. But I think one of the fixes she had for somebody who, of a senior age, was that the second person that you mentioned there, Wiley, is the successor in the mortgage. So there are ways around this. Yeah, so not to worry. Solutions can be found, because I think there is an appetite for lending money as well at the moment on home purchases. Colin, I would like Wiley to see my house. Now, that's not just a random comment. I think he is selling it as well. So we'll find a way to put you in touch. Pleased to listen to you, Wiley. I like your way of going about neighborhood search for your clients. I think it's a clever approach, and that's from one of our proper Portuguese people there. Fell in love, thanks, Joel, for that. Fell in love with our farm, lovely in Castanheira de Pera in central Portugal, of course. I think that's a good call. So, yes, you're going to get Wiley on the case there, perhaps. And the Ericeira, beautiful property in Ericeira that Colin's talking about. I'm from Lisbon, and I can't afford in Lisbon. I'm sorry to hear that, Diogo.
It's not fair.
Maybe needs to get into the real estate business, and then you will, maybe, depending on how good the quality is. My realtor said the maximum age is 75. Okay, so there you go. 75 is the maximum for Millennium Bank. So there you go. Obrigado a todos with that. Okay, so João loves your approach. I think other people can see the sense in it. The shift we're making, of course, in Portugal is from, it's a kind of hustler culture, isn't it? Like I said, 10 million people selling property. Even the kids know somebody who's selling a house, or they've seen the house with, the writing on the side of it with the telephone number. So on the one hand, everyone's got in the back of their mind the property they want to sell. By the end of it, they might make a tiny little bit of commission. So they're hustling on lots of different properties, and they're really not going to go out of their way in the way that you do to get a tiny little bit of commission on the 200 houses that they're aware of, are they? It's not going to work. It can't work like that. So you're talking about a shift of moving away from like being running here, there, and everywhere to a more focused approach. How does this actually work in practice? And you get taken on by the buyer, and they sign up with you. Is that how it works, so they can get that focus?
Right. And see, I'm really lucky because, the investment company that I work for doesn't have those demands, because I'm also in Sweden, I'm not always here. And so it's not, I don't have to sell. I don't have to, have any listings. I don't have to do any of those things. But if you're working for one of the larger franchises, your goal is to get as many listings as you can, because for example, if I work for Remax and I sign up a house, if someone else within Remax sells that house with someone else, I still get money. So because it's my house. Yeah. So the more houses I have, I'm almost guaranteed a paycheck. So I understand the mentality of let me list. I get it. It makes sense to me. But you've been in houses with people who are the listing agents who sometimes say, "Oh, I've never been in here. This is great." And you think, what did you just say? So then, and what I love about coming from Sweden and the United States is we do something called exclusive listings, which means I have your house probably staged, possibly, and that is at their cost, but it's an option. I have fresh flowers, that's my cost. I have a gardener, on speed dial, and that is something that for curb appeal is really important to me.
Yes.
And if I say that this room needs to be painted or cleaned or anything, I have a cleaning person who comes in and takes care of all those things. So I have a brochure, I have open houses. This is all Sweden, this is all America. And that bodes well for the house. Plus, if you tell me your story as the seller, why you're selling, I have your integrity to make sure that I don't go out and tell 100 different stories to 100 different people, and I choose what I need to say about your house. But if 14 people have your listing, the Portuguese mentality is there's 14 people who have it. I'm going to sell it so much quicker because all these people have it. And my answer is no, because it's watering the value of your house down, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It says, why is it that you have 14 people selling your house? I'm sure one, because we all advertise on the same 8 sites,
Yes.
and none of us are having an open house because what if he benefits from it? And none of us are printing brochures because what if he benefits from it? Yeah. And so people don't take the time to take care of your house. And so I think exclusive listings need to become a thing so that people really have a strong, I'm protecting you as a selling agent as well. I come out and do all the things that I think should be done. I pre-inspect your house to guarantee that everyone gets the same story, that everyone knows. I have the inspection report. Everyone knows what's going on with your house. So when it comes time to purchasing, it makes so much more sense. So I'm a proponent of exclusive listing agents. I'm also one of exclusive buying agents because the time and energy, because we don't have an MLS, we don't have a one-stop shop where I just push a button and say, I'm looking for this, and I find everything that's being listed for that. I have to look at the same sites that everyone else looks at. Yeah. So the time and energy that it takes me to really focus on your house, and then you have 2 or 3 of me doing that same job, as soon as I sign you up and see a house by, for example, Christie's, and then that agent tries to show you another house by Christie's, they're locked out because I've already signed you up with Christie's. So they say, well, that client's already, that's already someone else's client. So as a person buying, if you take 2 or 3 buyer's agents, you have me working for you, and then you have someone else working for you, but they can't show you everything. And then now they've shown you houses, which means I can't show you everything. And it becomes very confusing.
Yes.
So my suggestion is find one person who you click with, let them take care of your entire search. If at the end of the day you have a falling out, absolutely go with someone else, but try to work with one person who has a list of the houses you've seen that can, together with you, decide your neighborhood. And if it has to shift, then you don't have to give that directive to a number of people. If you decided to spend more or less, just be clear about your needs, be clear about what the person you're working with, and let that person do a really thorough search for you, and have a person who really does teach you about your neighborhoods. I take my people grocery shopping and clothing shopping because I'm not a large franchise that says, where are your listings? You have to sign up more people.
Yes. It makes so much sense. And, I think if this change could happen, if this transformation in real estate could happen in Portugal, it would be so good for the industry. It'd be so good for the country, wouldn't it? Because that is a difficult sort of misstep sometimes, isn't it? It can, and as Capricorn said, it can be a bad taste in the mouth as well afterwards if you have that experience. And why make it so difficult? And I understand it. I understand it economically. I understand it socially, culturally. But wouldn't it be a fantastic transformation to make to change it? And the only taste some people have got of this is watching Modern Family and seeing Phil Dunphy and some of the things he gets up to. But we're beginning to understand it now, I think. And I think when we were talking before, you said, in some countries, you have to take a degree to be a real estate agent. And why not? Wouldn't that be sensible as well?
I'd love to see licenses come back. I'd love it.
Yeah, because, we're not talking about a little purchase down the shops, are we? Down the market. We're talking about the biggest purchase of our lives, aren't we? Which, if it goes wrong, it can be really expensive and stressful. So why not upgrade all of this? I think in the way that you're talking about. We'll talk specifics before you go, because there's obviously a way of costing and structuring this with clients. But let's just look at some of the comments that are coming in. Great guest. Look at this. Wiley has a fantastic approach for it. That's from Louise, our dear friend Louise there. And the picture, I knew it wasn't you, Sabio. The picture is Zeka Afonso, who I think he was finding it exhausting listening to you talking about hashing earlier on. He had to go and eat a bit of cake to cheer himself up. But I think he's back now. Zeka Afonso, musician, poet, activist, famous for singing Grandula Vila Morena, the song that triggered the 25th of April revolution, the Carnation Revolution, of course. What a legend. We might talk a little about Zeka before we go today, somebody worthy of mentioning for sure. Andrea, with a question for you. If we offer cash, will it make it easier to get a better deal on the purchase price? What's your opinion on that, Wiley?
I do find that sellers, the owners of the homes, I do find that they like cash for two reasons, obviously cash, and they don't have to go to the banks. But the second thing, which is tricky here, is with banks. They come in and they look at the home, and very often people have enlarged their homes without changing it on the documentation. So they like cash buyers because they don't want anybody to come and scratch and find out that they've increased certain things. And that doesn't really maybe bother you until you have to turn on and sell it, and the next guy needs a mortgage and he finds out, and then it kind of comes back and hits you. So that's a double-edged sword. Will it make it easier to get a better deal on purchase price? I do think it gives you leverage. I think it does.
There you go, Andrea. Jackie's here. As we know, coming from the UK, this is a totally different way of buying property. It is a culture shock even. So you need someone on your side. Bon dia todos from Antonio F. Look at that. Our fine Lusitanian warrior there. And Robert, still feeling the same as yesterday. This isn't because you spent a lot of time in Sweden, and you shouldn't take this personally. But he still would rather die than go to IKEA. Come on, Robert. He still hasn't cheered up about that.
Swedes love IKEA. We love it. We go there because it's fun. It's very strange. I can't explain it.
I agree with you. But do Swedes have an inbuilt kind of understanding of how to get from the front to the back of the place?
We do.
Okay, so
we also have a black belt in building IKEA furniture. It kind of comes in.
Do they teach that in Swedish school?
They should.
They should. Okay, so maybe you'll come back one day and teach us how to get from the restaurant back to the checkout in record time.
But we appreciate, the fact that the family is great. He's really he was a very kind person. It's a great family business. I know many people who've worked for them. It's a wonderful organization, very all-inclusive. They do great things, and everyone has a piece of IKEA furniture, and it's not a bad thing. And you can there are so many IKEA hacks that you can really kind of transform each piece. It's a great place.
Hold on a minute. IKEA hacks. People go off-piste and then and actually change things, do they?
Go to YouTube and type in IKEA hack. You'll be surprised. It's crazy what you can do.
You turn your Billy bookcase into something entirely different, into a tiny house. Wow. Okay, that's got to be it. We've got to have you back for that. The main reason I left my apartment in a big urban environment and came to live in a small village was that I disliked the way my former neighborhood progressively changed
into an expat neighborhood.
And this proves Wiley is right. Hey, Donna Jacqueline is here. What a great professional lady with obvious integrity. There you go. You can put that on your business card now. Just from one meeting. He's not over it. IKEA does mail order now.
It's true, it does.
I love an IKEA hack. I love IKEA as well, says Jim, but they wouldn't let me move in. It's worth a try, though, Jim. Nice one. Okay, this is a good question from Stephen, and we'll probably finish on this because you've got to go do some work. Do you get paid by the buyer or seller? How does it work?
I'm going to say 99.9% of the time it's the buyer. Excuse me. Oh, I said that wrong. It's the seller. It's always the seller. It's always the seller. But there is sometimes when I'll go to do a search and it'll be for sale by owner, a FSBO. And the owner says, we don't want any real estate agents. And so I say to my clients, I want you to have the best house. So let's go look at this house. And if you love it, I will help you with the paperwork because I don't want you to get hurt. And I do that because karma is a good thing. And I think that we should protect each other. And the clients 99% of the time say, I will compensate you. Then there's another hack that says that there are agencies, and I think this is very sad, but there's agencies who won't partner with other agents. And so that they won't share commissions. And so that's another time when I say, I cannot get compensated by showing you this home, but please, I will always help you. So then they always say, we'll compensate you. So it's not a demand. I don't ever demand anybody that compensates me, but it almost always happens that they don't choose that house because of the kind of karma, I guess. I don't know. Yes. But here's another thing is I really wish that people who sold homes would ask their agencies, do you share? Because I think they're cutting their noses off to spite their face. I don't understand why you wouldn't do that. There are things called, communities, partnerships, buyer's agents, and I think that you stop the process. And when you do that, it's also a red flag for what are you hiding? Why wouldn't you have someone come in and partner with you on this?
Yeah, well said, well said. So the seller is paying you.
Always the seller.
Always the seller, and except in those rare exceptions that you mentioned there. And is there a retainer? I mean, obviously you go to a lot of cost. Is there a retainer monthly or anything like that?
I don't, because I really, you know what, when you spend this much time with each person, they almost always buy with you. And even if they don't, they always refer you. So it's it comes full circle. It always does. I've never been burned, ever. And there will be a time, and I might have a different conversation with you. But when you give, you always get. It's never.
Yeah, and sorry to sort of reduce it to the whole the business of marketing, but it's almost a marketing cost, isn't it? To be out there operating in the way you are and taking care of people. Is a way of promoting yourself as well, isn't it?
Really is.
I don't mean that in a cynical way. I just mean it's like you say, karma points are being collected. I asked because this is who you get paid by. Randomly, I saw a YouTube about people getting steered to the properties where they get a higher commission on. I mean, that's the reality, isn't it? Human beings being human, and you can understand it. The Portuguese minimum wage is tiny. You can understand why people sometimes take shortcuts and want to race to getting paid so they can feed their kids. I'm not saying it's a good thing. It's just one of those sad facts of the way the economy works here. And we're hopefully part of transforming that, right, Wiley?
I agree. I think that people are starting to understand that that's happening and starting to pull back on or asking the question. Just having an open conversation with what is the commission structure on this, and if I, as a buyer's agent, I like to come in at a lower price, and I know that gives me a lower commission, but I start bidding low, and I'm okay with that. Once again, I'm not working for Remax, but I come in lower, which means the cost is going to become lower, and therefore the commission structure is also, it's always 4 or 5%, but I'm going to get less money, but my clients are happy. I'm there to protect my client. Yeah. So when you find someone steering you to a higher price property, and to your point, it's tough to live here. The Portuguese don't make a lot of money, but I think we need to just have a more open conversation and try to say to your agent, can we not do this? Can we look at other properties?
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, interestingly, that was about US Canadian, but it's all about the relationship that's being created here.
Just being open.
Wonderfully articulated this morning. Andrea loves your business standards. An agent like you is priceless. That's fantastic. Sorry, I tuned in late. What geographic areas do you work in? And that's the same as Matty, who's asking. I missed the question, maybe. In which area of Portugal do you work? I myself will look for a farm in central Portugal starting in January. So for Donna and for Matty, where do you tend to do this, Wiley?
Thanks. I also want to buy a farm in central Portugal. I really do. I want a weekend house, and so I'm also looking there. Because I sell neighborhoods, I have to say that where my expertise lies, and I don't go outside of those neighborhoods because I can't, because I sell neighborhoods, and if I don't know the neighborhood, I can't sell it. So I do have people I work with who I think have a tremendous amount of integrity of neighborhoods I'm not in, but my neighborhood probably starts this side of Carcavelos. So as far as San Pedro, San João, Estoril, Monte Cascais, and then from Cascais over the mountain over to Calores, and that's it.
That's it. I did like your biblical approach. I love that biblical idea. You take them up to the mountaintop.
I love that neighborhood. It's a tough neighborhood. Some people don't like the mist and the thing, but if you like a Four Seasons, it's not a bad place to be.
Absolutely.
gorgeous.
And remember that. That's worth remembering, if you like, a sense of the seasons. So final point. Sorry, we're hiding us both here for a moment. I used to sell real estate in the States. We just bought a house here. The problem was that our buyer's agent was told several times that a property was under contract. All the heirs were arguing, etc. And then the house was still available. So you can't always use one buyer's agent because they get locked out of some properties and you suffer. Real estate unlicensed additions. My realtor insisted that the properties we offered on had the paperwork updated so we wouldn't have a problem later.
Right.
One owner too. So
good information.
Good information. A couple of points there for Khadija, who's also part of our Grey Watch plan. So let's finish. Let's move away from real estate because thank you so much. Really great what you've shared with us today. I hope you'll come back. But you mentioned nutrition. And for those who have been inspired, not only to learn a bit more Portuguese, but maybe to take better care of themselves, what are your, as a hasher, as an iron woman, what are your top nutrition tips finally for when you're in training or just generally, and in relation to the Portuguese diet as well, right?
We're so lucky to be here. Living in Sweden, they would ship in all our fruits and vegetables, and I learned how to eat pears hard because they never matured. We're so lucky to have the most amazing fruits and vegetables here, organic markets. I mean, it's just so incredible. My push for everybody is people talk about protein all the time, but I talk about fiber because, for example, protein sources can come from many places. I have to say I'm plant-based, so that's more of the conversation that I have. But people have a hard time with fiber. And I really think that I see so many people having like a steak and potato and they'll leave the salad on the plate. I think that if more than 50% of your diet comes from the earth, just start there. And I think you'll be fine if more than 50% of your diet grows out of the earth.
I think that's great advice. I find myself, I don't describe myself as vegan or vegetarian, but what I definitely notice is I've cultivated a greater appreciation of plants and salads. And that, you're right, it's so easy in Portugal to do that, isn't it? And there's no harm in maybe enjoying the meat rather than the main event as kind of a part of the dish rather than the whole of the dish, because we know what happens, don't we? I think if you just eat steak for the rest of your life and you keep leaving the salad on the side, that's probably not a very good idea to do that.
But let's talk about salad, because salad isn't lettuce and tomatoes. I mean, for me, a salad would be like everything that's in the refrigerator goes into my salad. So I could saute mushrooms, I could roast chickpeas, but I almost have a bean in my salad because protein is a thing. It's just not everything. Exactly. And so there's not a lot of people who are protein deficient in this life, but there are many people who are fiber deficient in this life.
Very interesting take on things. Yes, we must talk again. Will you come back?
Absolutely.
Oh, good. This is Jason White, who suddenly chipped in.
Okay, I've heard that before.
We're all part of the circle. We're all part of the circle.
But your food doesn't eat salad. Actually, find out the chain of food that your food is eating. It's not eating salad.
That's true. That in theory, that's probably true, Jason. But whether that's true in the food production process is another matter. And can we, Wiley, seriously, can we take food advice from somebody who is drinking piri straight from the bottle? Is that what he's doing there? The hot chili something or other on his shirt. Is he doing it as like a chili triathlon or something like that? A hot Iron Man or something like that, Jason. Thank you for your contribution. And thank you, Wiley, for being with us this morning. Lots of love to Kashgai. How's the weather looking there today?
Thank you. A little overcast, finally. I'm happy for it. It's like 30, like 4 days ago, 30 degrees in October.
It's a late old summer this year, isn't it?
It's
very
wonderful.
Interesting weather. So you're glad for a bit of.
I am. I want rain. Okay, don't quote me. But I wouldn't mind some rain.
Okay, muito prazer. Até logo. Ciao, ciao.
My pleasure.
All right, bye for now, Wiley. There she goes. That's Wiley. And we didn't get details. Wiley, please, will you put your details in the comments or send them to me in the private chat, and I'll make sure that they go onto the screen so that people. What a rookie error for me to make, to talk with so much joy and information there, and then not to find out how you can get in touch with her. Contact. Yeah, see, Colin's ahead of me. He's a media pro. He knows what he's doing. Should have started with that. Should have finished with that. Wiley, please, your contact details would be great. And looks like sriracha. Is that what he's drinking straight out of the bottle there, old Jason? I wonder. It does look like a hot sauce coming out of there. Protein deficiency isn't the problem. It's protein excess, says Thunder. Always when we talk about nutrition and food, we always get a few views coming in, don't we? And Matty adding, maybe I can get in touch with you, Wiley, to talk about agent options for the Alvazra region. Were you like me thinking when she goes to buy a farm in central Portugal, we need to go with her, or we need to find we need to get her to do a blog on that, because what she finds out in central Portugal, I'm sure, will be very interesting. Okay, everybody, what we have is wileyandpartners.com. Let me pop that into the comments now. Oh, I knew all along we'd get the details. I was just teasing you there. wileyandpartners.com. Let's stick that on the screen for you now. wileyandpartners.com. And I think what Wiley does is has a legal associates, every aspect of inspections and everything she doesn't do naturally herself as part of the process is referred to an excellent partner, namely there, wileyandpartners.com. She was great. Thanks, Wiley. So well done, everyone, for tuning in this morning and catching Wiley. We'll have her back, won't we? Because I think she was really rather good. I'm going to play you a video now while I change my water, so to speak. Sounds like being a horse, doesn't it? Have my hay and water changed. Look, it happened today. That is not water that's in this glass. I did the old agua Russian roulette and poured out what was in a plastic caramulo mineral water bottle here into the glass. And I pulled a face while I was talking to Wiley, and she might have thought I was responding emotionally to something she was saying. I was actually drinking some saline solution with colloidal silver and homeopathic kombucha. I think it's got I think it's iodine in here. So that's me with my radioactive protection sorted out for the next, 450 years or something like that. Another fantastic guest, great interview, full of energy. Absolutely right. I feel energized after that. No wonder you say you had to go and eat a bit of cake. Feeling better now, mate? And agreed from James. I'm going to play a video and we'll be back to chat a little bit more because I met some lovely people in the park yesterday. I want to shout out to them. What else have I got for you? Silver Coast video coming up now. Deagle, I've got to show you Deagle's textbook, and let's talk a bit more about the language, shall we, and what's happening tonight on the webinar. But video first, let me find that for you. This is beautiful yesterday. Out and about. Had a fantastic day doing all sorts of stuff around and about the Silver Coast, and then driving back pre-dusk, but only just, chanced upon the most beautiful view. I mean, it was like I parked up the car and I got out and sat on a bench, and the sun was reflecting on the waters of the Silver Coast. You might see it here. I don't know if you know how it is. Matty, I've got to share your picture as well. Did that come in last night, Matty, of your full moon yesterday? Because that was beautiful as well. But the sun was shining on the water, Foz, yesterday, and the way it was appearing to me was that the reflection of the sun on the water was connecting back up to the sun. And I thought I was having a near-death experience. It looked like there was a golden, like brighter than gold path towards the sun. And I was like, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. See if it comes out. See this, and I'm going to shut up and let nature do her thing. about that. And I don't know if you allowed yourself to be taken in by that. But I was there again, just feeling that, not just thinking, wow, that's a beautiful view, but really feeling that in my body, just watching it there. How was that for you? Do let me know, please. Jason White, beautiful. Thank you very much. Man, it's so beautiful there, says Francis. Beautiful, says Gary. And I know you, Gary, and you, Francis, would do a much better job at filming that than I would. Francis, thank you for reminding me about your video. What I'm going to do with that, Francis has shown me or shared with me his show reel. Amazing work. You people are so gifted in our community here. We talked about a LinkedIn page, didn't we, to connect us up professionally, so that it increases the chances of networking and working together, and earning a crust when you get to here. So I will show you a show reel next Tuesday on the businessy day. And anyone else who wants to showcase their work, we will have Jacqueline joining us talking about mortgages next Tuesday. And towards the end of the show, like this little bit where we're just hanging out together at the end, I will share your wares, okay? And feel free. I mean, you could join me. You could come on and join me and talk about your company as well. So we'll do that. And thank you for the reminder, Francis. Absolutely brilliant. And I will do that next Tuesday. And we will create some sort of networking group, I suspect, on our very own forum, as well as possibly in LinkedIn, because I think that's quite a good thing to do, is to reach out. Anybody else want to help me with that, starting a LinkedIn group for the people of Expats Portugal? It's my pleasure. Very happy to do that for you, Francis, and that'll be next Tuesday. Gorgeous form of meditation, uninterrupted by people going on and on. Yes, guilty as charged, Donna Jacqueline. Thought I'd give it a rest there, and quite rightly so, hey? I know you like that view as well, don't you? You love that Atlantic road there, and that is the end of it at Foz there, of course. Missing it, mate. Thank you. It's a pleasure, Diogo. Hopefully not too much saudade cause there. Bon dia from Corey. Good morning to you, Corey. That's a good dose of nature, wouldn't it? Just maybe we should do that more often. Gorgeous. I can't wait to go to Nazaré and see the big waves. I was looking at that the other day, just looking across to Nazaré. And whilst I was looking at those waves yesterday, I was thinking, yes, okay, that time of year is coming at Nazaré. Give me a shout about the LinkedIn. So that's good. That sounds like somebody more able than myself in that environment might be able to deal with that. Cheers, Stephen. Appreciate it. Got a profile on LinkedIn. Let me know if you want my help. Fantastic. Thanks, folks, that I'm able to ask of these favors of you and that you're stepping in this way. Do really appreciate it. Okay, Mrs. M up. Mrs. M up the life insurance. Don't worry about that. All sorted. I've never been so grown up in all my life. I've got that covered. But well said, you see, Bio. Carl, we all know you're under a lot of pressure. We all know it's vodka. No, when I was talking about where do you get the colloidal silver? Hold on a minute. Okay, I'm confusing things here. Where do you get the colloidal silver? Mrs. M, you can buy a kit and you can make it. I think that's still legal. She's not making ivermectin. I shouldn't have said that word, should I? I think you can still make colloidal silver in the privacy of your own home. Not that certain people would want you to do that, but I actually don't know what's in that water. I think it smells of iodine. Goodness only knows what ritual she's performing in here. But we all know it's vodka. Honestly, it's not vodka, Jason White, and it might be, but whatever it is might be improved with a little bit of chili splashed on your face, like you've got in your. Tell us more, Jason, about what was going on there. I thought you were talking about my sitting near the stairway to the golden stairway to heaven, and thinking, no, I'm not ready yet. But it was really moving. It was really moving to see, the greatest light of the earth, on the earth at the top of this wibbly wobbly reflective staircase. And what it reminded me of was when people do talk about passing through, they talk about this great golden light and, moving towards you or you moving towards it. And there I was enjoying something similar. But it wasn't my time yesterday. Mrs. M up the life insurance. Interesting. Thank you, Wiley from Victoria. Wonderful info on real estate in Portugal. So good. Thank you, Astrid, for suggesting I talk to Wiley. Really, really good. Yes, last night during my evening dog walk and meeting up in car parks, unfortunately taken with a cell phone. Think my SLR would have done it much better. The thing is with photography, there's something of the spirit of the moment that's captured, isn't there? Even if it is on a cell phone. And let me share the spirit of this moment that you're talking about here, Matty. Isn't that beautiful? again, the reflections on the water. It's as though, isn't it, that when you see the sun like that, even the street lights and the reflection, that the fabric of life is torn, and behind it, the golden light of whatever you believe to be or sense, the divine intelligence behind it is revealed to us through the rip in the fabric right there, and the stairway towards it. I mean, this is why we're fascinated by light, isn't it, as human beings, and why we gravitate towards it, and why we struggle a bit if we're kept in the dark. Hank is here, everybody, on that philosophical note. Let me just remove that beautiful picture for just one moment. Hi, all you wonderful people. Just wanted to check in and wish you all a good morning. Can't stay because Connie's... Oh, no. So lots of love. I'm sure Connie will feel lots of love from all of this community, wishing her well. So do pass that on from us, please. Hank, really appreciate if you do that. Send our love to Connie, won't you? Not sure you can show Matty's full moon on the morning show. Too late, I did it. Not what you were thinking, Stephen, or hoping for. Bon dia, Hank. And from James and from Thunder this morning. Bon dia and Taja from Hank there. And yeah, lots of love to Connie. Elra agreeing. Hope Connie feels better soon. Okay. Well wishes. So healing vibes anyway. It's for Connie. Yeah, all the best, Connie, from Francis as well. And what else have we got in the comments here this morning? Very misty and foggy. Do keep an eye out for Don Sebastian on those days, Carl. Oh, and let me know if you see him. Need to kick his ass for 60 years of Spanish rule. Well, it'll be my pleasure to get involved on that cross-cultural debacle. Tell us more, Elra. What should I be doing and why? Great pick, Matty. The Hunter's Moon. Isn't that lovely? That's referred to the Hunter's Moon, of course, for night hunting. You get that full moon, don't you? Which allows the hunters to see at night. Intelligent design deserves our intelligent contemplation. Thank you very much. Dora J, I thought you might add something there. To add authenticity, I think you should have moved into sipping from a sample jar. Well, Joel, as I recall from the man cave, he gets something out. He gets a kind of old yellow bottle out from underneath his desk, doesn't he? And holds it up and sips it. Yes, I'll have a look into when Joel brings out his own merchandise, his vest, his singlet, and his old yellow plastic bottle. I'll buy one of those. And I will use it. I'll put my vest and have a sip out of an old bottle myself. Thank you for that reminder, Pete. The moon was crystal clear. That did not come out on the picture. Full circle and beautiful. I think a few people were moved by the full moon last night, were you not? Fiona's here as well. Good morning, Fiona. Does anyone know how to get rid of the subtitles when watching the show on Facebook? Annoying as they cover the comments on screen and often the people's lower face. If you can't do it, I'll just sit up a bit higher. I can sit up like that for you, Fiona. Just let me know, okay? Happy and good rest of this day. All the best to all. Cheers, Diogo. Appreciate it, mate. Simon! From Andy. No mention of the man cave so far. Well, that kind of mention, them shouting at each other across the comments. Give us a little bit of a taster of what might be happening tomorrow night on the man cave, Andy, will you? And tonight, talking of forthcoming attractions, this is a good one. What you need to know about driver's license exchange. It's the expert info and Q&A tonight with the Automobile Club de Portugal, Automobile Club de Portugal, ACP. It's a Portugal calling webinar that we do every Thursday, covering important subjects such as this. So tonight, of course, 21 Outubro at 7:30 tonight, driving in Portugal, what you need to know about driver's license exchange. And I know this is coming at a very opportune moment for many people who find themselves in a predicament about it. So join us for that. And of course, you get VIP treatment if you become a premium, or most of you here are already premium members, let's face it. But anyone who's new or who sees this in another time and place, do consider becoming a premium member and you'll get VIP treatment on the webinars. And it's a good way of supporting what we do. Become a premium member at expatsportugal.com/upgrade for that. I think I've got a video to share with you from Victoria. You know how it is when I'm downloading these. It makes a bit of a racket. So let me do that. From this morning's sunrise walk from the Miradouro, Santa Catarina at the east end of Praia da Rocha. Okay, so let me just download it because I want you to see this. I have to play a little bit of it behind the scenes. Here's a teaser of it as I download it. Come along, video. Where are you? Oh, it's a quiet one. can just hear Victoria's footsteps. Oh, we're going through a portal, everybody. Okay, so we'll come back to that in just a moment. That is beautiful. That is a stunner, as we're used to receiving from you, Victoria. I can't wait to play that. We'll go out with that this morning, actually. That's really, really nice. Have I got enough room to upload it, though? Let me just find out and see if that's there. Your portal of Santa Catarina. I think that's working fine. I'm going to find out about some bottom kicking that was referred to earlier on. Don Sebastian was the king that. Oh, okay. I thought it was a saint. So Dom, of course, Dom King Sebastian was the king that was in North Africa without leaving descendants. So the Spanish took over the country. Oh, I see. So he went off to Africa. Didn't leave any kids here in Portugal. So the Spanish took over the country. During those decades, the Portuguese used to say the king would return. Oh, okay. So we might see him in the mist returning. That's a beautiful legend. Thank you. I will look out for Dom Sebastian. And Antonio F says, of course, that's violence against the elder. Dom Sebastian would be 473 years old now. So you think I should kick his bottom rather than welcome him with open arms for leaving the country, I suppose? Yeah, come on. That's a long time to hold a grudge, isn't it, Antonio F? You make a good point there. Good health, Connie. And yes, while Deagle's here, let's show his textbook. I was saying yesterday, wasn't I, that wouldn't it be good to get a book as well to write things down? Help us commit them to memory. And here is Deagle's lovely exercise book. Very, very, I don't know, is it assiduous? Is that the right word? You know me, I'll chuck a word in even if it hasn't got the right meaning because it sounds good. But very conscientious, let's put it that way, is Deagle McKinnon in Belfast. All sorts of resources at your disposal. You're even writing things down and structuring your learning, which I really admire, Deagle. And the top of your picture there, have you got a kind of Rudolf Steiner type nature table going on? Have you got an arrangement for this time of year? That's beautiful, my friend. What's going on exactly there with that lovely little pumpkin and autumnal scene that goes alongside your very conscientious approach to learning Portuguese there? On misty mornings, to free the country from the Spanish kings. So that's I think I've missed a bit out there. Okay, yes, the Portuguese used to say the king would return on a misty morning to free the country from the Spanish kings. So they're a bit cross, waiting for nearly 500 years. But I think it's time to forgive. Far be it from me to say what the Portuguese people should do with their missing kings. Man Cave is happening tomorrow night. I thought I said that, right? I know it's Thursday. It's Quinta, Sexta. Obviously, the sexy men of the Man Cave on Sexta-feira tomorrow night. What's going on? Give us a little teaser on that, please, Andrew. But he deserves a butt kicking for leaving us. I'm using the royal we there. Okay, Elra and Antonio can just figure that one out between themselves. First time live here from Germany, planning to move to Portugal mid next year. Oliver, great to have you here with us. Good morning to you. I know, got a bottle of port at the ready. What's that for? Is that for tomorrow night? I had a student. Oh dear. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. That is what a horrible thing to happen as a teacher, as a lecturer. Student committing suicide over the last weekend. So the mood has been dark in the faculty this week. Of course it would be. What an awful thing. Terrible thing. Man cavers are amassing. You can feel their presence already, can't you? It's kind of breathing down the back of your neck there. And a sobering note from Eusebio: suicide is the largest killer of men under 45 in the UK. I think we have talked about that in the Man Cave previously, haven't we? Why? It needs to be talked about, doesn't it? What a chilling figure that is, Eusebio. We can't go into that, can we? About mental health, that sort of thing, discussions in the Man Cave. Do it, guys. It's very important that this be an ongoing topic. We need illumination. We need relief from the situation whereby young men feel the need to do that. What a terrible shame. And Oliver being welcomed, first time on the show. Don't worry, they're not shouting at you, they're shouting with you. Oliver over there for the first time in Germany. Okay, let's have a look then, shall we? Hold on a minute. What's this? Rod, Jane and Freddie. You always got to mention Rod, Jane and Freddie. Pete expleting. Jane from Rod, Jane and Freddie is 72 today. And my rainbow is aging me, not rage. It's probably raging him as well, isn't it? No, she cannot be 72. Bit of age rage there. Have we got a picture of the lovely Jane from Rod, Jane and Freddie? Others around the world will not know what we're talking about. Rainbow was Do I do my Zippy impersonation? Happy birthday, Jade. Oh. So was that any good, Pete? Parabéns. Happy birthday. Felicitations to you. Congratulations, Jane from Rod, Jane and Freddie, from the legendary children's program that is Rainbow. Pete might, if he's quick enough, put in a link to when they have dubbed Rainbow with more adult language. It's quite hilarious. I can't possibly play it here, but good fun. If you want a little bit of a light relief, watch a bit of Rainbow. UK children's program used to be on at lunchtime, actually, I think, if I remember rightly. He's come home from school. A little lad, I think I was under 10. I would walk home on my own from school to my parents' pub, put a telly on, have a sandwich, and watch a bit of Rainbow. Up above the streets and houses, rainbow flying high. Aha, found out how to get rid of those pesky closed captions, the dots at the top right. If you press on the top right of your screen view, hooray, months of irritation. Isn't that a lovely feeling when months of irritation can be put behind you? I think that just about wraps it up today, folks. Apart from a new phrase that I've picked up whilst listening to Liz talk the streets. I've got a new sign-off, and she says ciao for now. And I'm thinking, hold on a minute, I can't say that anymore. Did she say it before me, or did I say it before her? She's taken what I think is my sign-off catchphrase, but she's given me a new one, which I'm going to try out today. So I haven't heard from Tom from a little while, so it's good to hear via Andrea. Tom and I really enjoy Man Cave, even topics we disagree with. It's fun and a way to vent and have a good time. That's what it was always intended for. And the fellas are doing a great job in upholding that ethic. Mental health and suicide may be one for its own show. Very important topic. Agreeing with me there, and absolutely right. Agreeing right back at you. Yes, on this matter, got a little bit of a complaint. We had Ben Amrami from Spartan Effects, didn't we, talking on Tuesday, and he was talking about what's going on in America, the American situation, and he happened just to mention that one of his clients said yes, and Trump might get re-elected, and then somebody on YouTube said to me, I hope that's not the political position of the Good Morning Portugal show. It's like, okay. Knickers in a twist alert there, because hold on a minute, why would we need to have a political position on Good Morning Portugal? And I reminded this person, and I hope they understand what I was saying, and I do understand why they were upset by that, which is their choice to do so. But we don't have a political position. We have a kind of social position. We have a positioning which says you can say what you want here. And this was certainly the case on the Man Cave, and it was certainly explored to the highest degree, I think, on the Man Cave, and still is. You can say what you want as long as you say it respectfully and legally. And that, to me, is a space that should be guarded. And it's not for us to tell you what you should be thinking politically. It's not for us to have a position on politics. I've got my own personal views, obviously, and opinions, and I sometimes share them, and I'm happy to talk about some of them and not happy to talk about others. And I think that's exactly how it should be. So I am sorry, genuinely, that you took Ben's comments to heart and that they were upsetting for you. But we've got to preserve these spaces where people are just saying things, and it's not a reflection of anything. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. It was just something he heard and was sharing. Okay. I will do my best to maintain that we are allowing people to say what they want to say, as long as they say it respectfully and it's legal. Okay. And that's not an easy wicket to bat sometimes, but I think to me, it would appear to be the right one. Just a little moment for me to be able to share that with you. Thank you, Carl. Thanks so much for a great show. Ciao for now. Yes, that was the one, wasn't it? Sorry about that, Andrew. That sounds traumatic. Of course, yes, on the faculty there. If that person was American, of course, everything has a political position. Everything is either this or that in the USA. Steady on now. Let's not be opening that wound up, Elra. But it sounds like you might be right. Portuguese, so we shall then. No worries. We can do anything. Listen to that. We can do anything in a man cave. Okay, so we're going to play out with Victoria's lovely little video. And I shall say to you now, because we will butt that up. We will have is it Santa Catarina, was it? The Santa Catarina portal. And then we'll go with the outro. But before then, I'm going to leave with you my sign-off greeting that I'm going to play with for a little while, having done my 15 minutes plus of Portuguese. Not ciao for now anymore, but thank you for that, Thunder. And it's a ciao ciao from Andrea as well. I'm going to extend that to all of us. And I'm going to say with you, if I can remember it, what was it? What did she say? Vamos falado. What do you think of that? Vamos falado. And I'll see you tomorrow for a bit of Feel Good Friday. Let's have some fun tomorrow, folks. It's just us. Mia will be with us next Friday. So there's an opening tomorrow, a feel good opening. And who doesn't like a feel good opening in the mornings? Bye for now. No, not ciao for now. Vamos falado. And here is Victoria's lovely video from this morning.